आएंगे तो कभी कभी हो जाता है। मैं असल में करीबन 6-8 महीने, इनफैक्ट मुझे लगता है लास्ट जो आपने अटेंड किया था ना, उसके बाद में मैं आज ही कर रही हूँ।
अच्छा,
उसके बाद में मेरे वेबिनार्स नहीं हो पाए। तो इस बार थोड़ा सा नया कॉन्सेप्ट लेकर आई हूँ। वही बात तो मेरी तो वही रहेगी, योग वाली।
ठीक है, मैं बताता हूँ। Myself Sanjay Vakharia from Stop and Select Annex Goregaon City Center. I am into ready-made garments, menswear, wholesale and retail. We make suits in 48 hours and we make t-shirts for corporates. ये अपना स्टोर है।
Great, huh? Oh wow, hey, pretty big store.
Yeah.
Good
सब
collection.
रखते हैं, formal, casual, party wear, everything.
Okay.
We keep everything for menswear.
Right. Shrushti?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Shrushti and I have learned under Suchitra ma'am in the Yoga Institute 4 years back. Actually, in 2015, December 2015, I started my 2 years yoga teachers training course in the Yoga Institute. And in 2018, I completed. And in 21, again, I joined Sankhya under ma'am and learned Vritti changing technique also under ma'am. And I've got a lot of benefits. I'm also doing Pratipaksh Bhavna, in which ma'am teaches 5 years.
कितना साल हो गया? 1990.
So yeah.
Okay, Gauri?
25 complete हो गया.
Hello ma'am. Hello everyone. So मैंने अभी currently I'm under ma'am's tutelage and learning Sankhya and Yoga Institute से ही I came to know about ma'am from yoga, firstly the DTC, then the yoga psychology. और उसके बाद I came across Sankhya and have been loving all the sessions with ma'am. So still new to Sankhya, but yes, and VCT also I attended a couple of lectures and I'm still getting to learn VCT. So it's a nice experience.
Okay. So welcome to this version 2 of my free webinars. And this time, all this gap that I have had, I have refined my work and I will share with you a blueprint by the name Vritti to Siddhis. Now, it sounds a little strange. Vritti to Siddhi. The whole idea being a lot of yoga is assumed to have some, magical and all that kind of powers. इसको तो योग सिद्धि प्राप्त है, ये ऐसे कर सकता है, वैसे कर सकती है, वगैरह. So today I want to remove the mysticism around it for you all. And we will do it as the mysticism is in our perception, is in our mind. So all the knowledge that we get in our mind is called Chitta Vritti. And Chitta Vritti is another most commonly used word in yoga. So using this Vritti itself, we are going to demystify the Siddhi. And I will share the blueprint as I have promised. by the end of this session. So let me begin by sharing a few slides with you. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So, before we begin, obedience to the great one, Buddhi is depicted by Lord Ganesha, and Buddhi is the first of the creation in Sankhya. So, having to say namaste to the great Ganesha and to my gurus from whom I learn, Shri Yogendra Ji, Mother Sita Devi, Dr. Jaydev, and currently the CEO of the Yoga Institute, which is now 103 years old, Hansa Ji. Welcome to this webinar on Vritti to Siddhi. How would you like if you can live life like this? Yes. Do we want to live life like this? And does it seem like at hand or far-fetched? How many of you think that you're living life like this? You can write in the chat if you're already living life like this, or you would like to live like this. Then say that in the chat. I'm looking to see your chat message.
Would like to live it to the
Okay.
fullest.
Okay, you prefer to say it rather than write it. Very well.
Yeah.
Gauri and Sanjay. Yes, you can also unmute and answer because we are such a small group. It won't take. Okay, you'd like to live like this. Sanjay,
Yes, ma'am.
you think you're living like this? You would also love to live like this. Very well.
Yeah.
So let's see how and what can be done for that. So to live life like this, very many of us think that कि हाँ ये सब हो जाएगा तब हम ऐसे जी पाएंगे. But that's not true. You can live life like this from the day you decide to live life like this. Only thing is, we have forgotten that we have this ability. When we were born, the birthing process is so kind of a shocking process. It makes you forget everything. All the abilities and everything, the purpose and everything that you're born with. Let me tell you, time and again, people who are into this deeper, higher kind of yoga, they have repeatedly told us, wise people have told us that our destiny is in our hand. We can make the life the way we want it. We have the ability. Today, oh God, click is going double today. Today, in this masterclass, you will learn the secret of becoming what you were born to be. You were born to live life like this, and just now we are living life like this. But we all want to fly like this. So we don't have to continue to remain like a creepy crawly, but for that, there is something in between. The cocooning process, the transformation process, where metamorphoses occur. So we will have to leave the old ways in order to become the new you. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for transformation? Say, I'm ready. Let me hear you say that. Are you ready? Yes, I'd like you to join me
Yes.
in my mission. Yes, thank you. I am out on a mission to impact 1 lakh people in the next 5 years, to have emotional balance along with intellectual balance and moderation in behavior in the life, with or without using the new yoga technique, which is what I'm going to tell you about. and equip 10,000 yoga teachers. Of this 1 lakh, at least 10,000 should be yoga teachers to specialize in the teaching of Pratipaksha Bhavna for emotional balance using Vritti changing technique. Now you'll say we are talking about Vritti, that's fine, but where is this new thing coming up? I told you there's a cocoon in between that we need to go through. In this cocoon, the name of the cocoon is this, and all these things happen in this cocoon. The transformation takes place over there. So if this part of my journey today, oh, you people got disconnected as I can see. Let me share the slide again. Hello. Yeah, we are connected. We are connected again. So I'll skip this journey part. But I definitely will want to tell you as to what gives me the right to talk of something like this. This Vritti changing technique I have been using for now nearly 14 years. I have personally undergone that transformation in the cocoon that we talked of. And I have already been teaching this in these last 12, 13 years, of which out of the 3 books that I have authored, 2 of them are on this topic, which I use as like a textbook in my course, which I'm going to talk to you about at the end of this webinar. So because of my experience and successful experience, not only with myself, with so many others who have joined me already. So that is that. How breathing can change emotion. We are talking about vritti, and in between, I'm talking about emotion. So let me make the connection. I'll stop sharing this and I will show you the blueprint that you're going to get. Okay, let me show you the blueprint. Okay. I'll share it again. I couldn't share the last time. Okay, here it is. Okay, here is your blueprint. Now, vritti, what is it? It is the impression that we have in our mind that we gather from the information that we collect through our senses. And it is this that gives us knowledge. Okay, our senses receive nearly 2 million bytes of information every moment. But our and all this sensory data, it remains stored in our mind. Luckily, thank God, we are not aware of all of it. We are conscious only of 7 bytes of data. From 2 million, only 7 bytes you are aware of. And still, there are times when we feel overwhelmed with a lot of and uncontrolled mind.
Sanjay ji, can you please mute?
Now, this uncontrolled condition of the mind that we experience, that is happening with just 7 bytes per moment that we are absorbing, that we are conscious of. Imagine if we were to be conscious of all this information that we were getting in. Thank God, actually we are saved. We would not be able to handle it. But at the same time, while this is good, the bad of it also, or the limitation of it, more than bad. Let's understand what is that. Now, these 7 bytes of information that we are aware of, it is this that our mind interprets to convert it into knowledge. Vritti is this impression that we are having, this consciousness that we are having of whatever bits of information we're getting from the senses, and the knowledge is the interpretation that we make of it. Now, what decides what knowledge you're going to convert it into? It is your power, the emotional state at that point of time. And we hardly have any awareness or control over our emotional state. Imagine the vritti gets interpreted first and foremost when whatever object that we are looking at, we are seeing, that's there in front of us, we are gathering information about, is just there. And our senses just pick all the information from that. Then our mind selects only 7. How does our mind select these 7? It's random because our emotions are random. If you have regulation over your emotion, if you can monitor and consciously create your emotional state, then the 7 bytes that you will pick up, that forms your vritti and that gives you knowledge, will be just the ones that are in tune with your purpose in life. So, of course, it means that you need to have a higher purpose in life. And depending on that, you can create your own emotional state and you can create the necessary knowledge, awareness, and information. I'll show you the rest of it a little later. I'll go back to the previous slide, previous presentation. Yeah. We know that breathing and emotions are connected. I will take you through one demonstration shortly. But before we go into that demonstration, let me show you something else. What do we do in life? We put the cart in front of the horse. How would it be if you, instead of being on the driver's seat, would be pushing the car from behind? How far would you go? Would that be a wise thing to do? With respect to the car, we know we are wise and we will not do this, correct? But in life, we have somehow lost that wisdom. We are not making use of this wisdom. So that is why a lot of things that we put in effort for does not really happen, does not take us forward. Because, and why do we end up doing this? Because our emotions are uneducated, untamed. We know the difference between wild animal and domestic animal. Cat is generally considered a domestic animal, but there are wild cats too. So if there is a wild cat, you will not go anywhere near it. It's something to be scared of. Whereas your pet, you can sit with it in your arms. Same way, a lion is generally a wild animal, but if it is tamed, it is harmless, you can pat it. Same is the condition with our feelings, our emotions. They are not educated. Not educated means we, just like you see the difference between the wild and the tamed. The same thing I mean when I say our emotions are not educated. Now, this is not under your control, whereas this is in your control. We would be very happy if we can have this control over our emotions. When this will happen, you will understand when you are doing this and not to do this in your life. Rather, sit down in the driving seat, put the horse in front of the cart, and only then you will succeed. Okay, I will skip this for today. Now, how to educate these emotions? To live life full size, this is the first step. If we can educate our emotions, and you may say, how long will it take and how and what to do with it? I will say it depends on, होता है ना, कई लोग तो एक ही साल में क्लास के अंदर टॉप पा जाते हैं, और सेम क्लास के अंदर ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं पूरे साल क्लास अटेंड करके फेल भी होते हैं या जस्ट मुश्किल से पास हो पाते हैं. So it really depends on us. And if we really want to come out with flying colors, then we have to really give the whole of ourselves in it. Okay, so I can see that Mr. Sanjay seems to have either left or have logged out. Do you see him there? Anyone of you see him in? I don't see him on the my screen. Yeah, yes, he is not on the screen. He is not in the webinar. We are only 3 of us. So I was going to do a VCT on breathing. Gauri, have you done that?
Ma'am, I've attended the first this thing of VCT, and second one I'm halfway through.
So you have done the VCT on breathing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I was going to show that. So you think you want to do it with me, or you have the good experience of having to shift with doing VCT on breathing? Did you do it yourself or you just saw?
Ma'am, I just saw it, but then I have been doing EFT, which is...
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing the screen and we will do a little practical for demonstration and experience. Okay. So it is very simple. Do as I do and say as I say. I think the points at least you will probably know and remember. So what we will begin with,
yes, ma'am,
is measuring. This is the very most important characteristic of this technique, is this measurement. So breathing, how to measure breathing. A good breath is slow, smooth and long, or forget about slow, smooth, long, but at least there have been times when you've been really in a nice, peaceful, whatever is your best state, maybe after a nice vacation, after a good rest, a holiday, or a meditation if you've done. Yes. So after a very beautiful experience, so during that beautiful experience, you know, your mind is perfectly calm and quiet. What is your breathing like? Means whatever is your memory of your best breath, just recall that and give it 10. Welcome, Lakshmi. You have come in at the most practical time, so you can begin with what I'm saying. Though you may have seen in the recording, but as Gauri said that she's only seen, she's not done it. So I said, let us do it in that case, because experience is a must. Okay. So have you both given it number 10? All 3 of you? Shrushti, even if you've done it, doing it again is always helpful. All right. So 10 on 10 to that breathing, which is your best. Now, just watch your breathing just now. If that is 10, is your breathing that peaceful just now, that quiet just now? Or is it anything less, 9, 8, 7, 6, or whatever? What number would you give your breath? This you will have to write down in the chat. Okay. Lakshmi, your number? Lakshmi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm waiting for your number that you are giving to your breath. Just now, how is it in compared to your best that you gave 10? Oh, all 3 of you 6. That means I can very safely make this statement for you, because in this technique, what is very important is to be honest, to be ruthlessly honest with yourself. So I can very safely make this statement for you. that my breathing is not very good. Correct? It's not its best. So it's not very good. So let's begin. Do as I do and say as I say. Yeah, Shrushti, keep yourself unmuted. And Lakshmy and Gauri, if you can keep your videos on at least, or even if you keep your audios on, it's perfectly all right. We're just 4 of us. So then I can check and see that you are getting the points correctly. If it is not uncomfortable for you, I like your videos to be on. Okay, low network, all right. And Lakshmi? Okay, fine. I hope you will see it correctly. In case you are in doubt, you can ask me, okay? Both Shrushti and I are doing it and you can see. Okay, Lakshmi, no problem. Tap the karate chop point, this point. We can, throughout the tapping, we are going to use these first 2 fingers. Here, it's okay to use all 4, but more important, if you're using 2 fingers only, this lower end of the outer edge of the palm in line with your little finger. Okay. And now repeat after me. Get into a rhythm and repeat after me. Even though my breathing is not very good,
my breathing is not very good.
I deeply and completely
Love,
forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself,
Even though
I'm
not breathing very well,
not breathing very well.
I deeply and completely love, forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself,
Even though my breathing is not very good,
my breathing is not very good.
I deeply and completely love, forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
Tap the beginning of eyebrow point. Breathing is not very good.
Breathing is not very good.
Tap the eye end point. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
Tap below the eyes. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
Below the nose. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
Chin groove. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
Below the collarbone. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
Below the armpits. My breathing is not very good.
My breathing is not very good.
On the lower ribs. I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
On the side of thumb, at the junction of nail and skin. Okay, I hope you get the point right. I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
Forefinger, similar point. I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
Middle finger, similar point. I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
Little finger, I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
Karate chop. Still, I deeply and completely
Still, I deeply and completely
love, forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
I choose to breathe slow,
breathe slow,
smooth,
full,
smooth and long.
smooth and long.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love,
love,
forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
I choose to breathe
I choose to breathe
slow,
slow,
smooth,
smooth,
and long.
and long.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love,
love,
forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
I choose to breathe
I choose to breathe
slow,
slow,
smooth, and long.
and long.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love,
love,
forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
Tap the beginning of eyebrow point, slow breath,
Slow breath,
eye end point, smooth breath,
smooth breath,
below the eyes, long breath,
long breath,
below the nose, slow breath,
slow breath,
chin groove, smooth breath,
smooth breath,
below the collarbone, long breath,
long breath,
below the armpit, slow breath,
slow breath,
on the lower ribs, smooth breath,
smooth breath,
thumbnail, long breath,
long breath,
forefinger, slow breath,
slow breath,
middle finger, smooth breath,
smooth breath,
little finger, long breath,
long breath,
karate chop, and I deeply and completely
and I deeply and completely
love,
love,
forgive,
forgive,
and accept myself.
and accept myself.
Massage the tender spot on the left shoulder as you take a deep breath in. Gently press and hold that point and breathe out long from the mouth. Reassess and see what number you can give your breath now. Has it shifted in any way? Please write it in the chat, whatever number you give your breath now. Okay, that's a good shift from 6 to 8. Shrushti going to 9. You're yawning so much.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And so strong it was. So it was really kind of, getting you out onto your best. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. I'm so happy for both of you. The fact that it has shifted means the technique works for you. That's one. Two, you know that our breath is jerky and shallow when we are in a comparatively stress condition, in a negative state comparatively. And when we are in a positive state, it is slow, smooth, and long. So both of you are closer to your best breath now. And if we do just one more round, you can actually be better than your best and you'll discover your new best. Still better one than what you have experienced earlier. So congratulations to both of you that this technique effectively works for you. Now, what you have done is by changing the status of your breath, you have shifted to a better emotional state. Now, going back to our blueprint, shall I open it again? I'll share the slide again, okay. Because when it is in front of you, it makes more sense. So, I think this is better. So, these 7 bites that you make sense of depends upon the emotional state that you are in at that time. So, if your breathing state was 6, so your emotional state was also a little average kind, not the best. When your breathing improves, means your emotional state improves. And automatically, the 7 bites that you will pick up and the interpretation that you will give to it will be of the better emotional state kind. You will look at the positive side of it that much more. Now, is that very encouraging?
Yeah.
You are going to go to 10 and 11 and 12, Shrushti. You are not going to stop your breathing at 10 today. It's going to become better because I can see there is a fallout after effect still.
Yeah.
Actually, you should do this every day.
Yeah. Okay.
Just this. Every day, begin your day with this and maybe repeat it once again in the day sometime. Fix up your routine like that. And let me tell you, you will see amazing result with simply this one VCT. It's the simplest of all, right?
Yeah.
And bring it to 10. Every day, bring it to 10. So much so that your system gets used to automatically getting onto the 10. Then you will just have to will it. If you do it for a long period of time, you simply have to will and it will shift to 10. And let your 10 keep growing higher. You'll automatically be doing pranayam.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I have seen that happen. So therefore, I'm able to tell you. Like on an average, I used to teach in my biology class that on an average, human adult breathes about 14 to 16 times in a minute. But I have observed with all my yoga practice, etc., I breathe 6 times a minute, which is a huge shift.
Yeah.
So it also means that from that much Rajasic state, I have come down to so much Sattvic state.
That's
And
amazing, ma'am.
everybody else can also do the same.
Ma'am,
So
how
it's
long did
possible.
it take you to come from that
Now,
number to
of
6?
course, with this technique, so it can happen instantly. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, but for it to last you a prolonged period of time, it has to be practiced regularly. Yoga, also we know, it should be done daily, right? This is a new yoga technique. It has to be done daily. Only then your whole system gets cleansed. You know, unless and until cleaning take place and your whole system gets used to remaining clean. That is very, very important. That no sooner anything of a lower vibration comes in, you are able to identify and get rid of it. But as I told you, that we have forgotten this. We are born with it. This ability is inherent as us, but we have not paid attention to it. We have not utilized. It is there in us, but it's like wildfire. It does not come to our aid the way we want it. And it's a tremendous amount of energy. Emotional energy is much more than the thought energy or action energy. We have some kind of a regulation and control over our thoughts and our actions, our behavior. But we don't have any control over our emotions, and which are more powerful. So now, once you understand what role these emotions play in the formation of our vritti and the knowledge that we have of our world, you definitely want that we must have regulation over our own emotions. And therefore, now this part is over. We move to another part. So that's the vritti. The next part of our blueprint tells us something else, that with emotional calm, you can increase your level of consciousness. The consciousness is 7 bytes plus or minus 2. It can become more. And you can enjoy higher levels of consciousness. We in yoga talk about higher levels of consciousness. So that's exactly what is being talked of. In yoga, also, this same process is utilized. But somehow we don't pay attention to it. And we have got so stuck with the popularized yoga that we don't pay attention to the first 2 steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now, Ashtanga Yoga tells you the entire process from being a commoner to being a yogin, correct? So a common person must begin their yoga practice with yama and niyama, which are suggestions from Maharishi Patanjali. Maharishi Patanjali is not suggested it just on his own. He has experienced it himself using all the techniques that were available in his time. And he's gathered it all together and put them as yama and niyama. These are the 2 ways of emotional balance in relation to the outside world is yama. Emotional balance in relation to our inner world is niyama. So when the emotional calm is achieved, then the vrittis that we have, the consciousness that we have, the interpretation that we make of the external world or the inputs from our internal world, the knowledge that we get is definitely of a cleaner kind, higher kind, and positive and sattvic. Yes. So when we can do this, our consciousness per moment will increase from 7 to whatever, wherever we can take it, and as much as we can tolerate it. And when that happens, our head and our hand are still in coordination. We can think and our hand can write what we want to, what we think. We think of an action and our hand can carry it out, right? But our heart also gets integrated when this happens. So gain your emotional calm, use vritti changing technique, bring your breathing to a balanced remains, you will enjoy integration of all the 3 faculties. All these 3 are very, very powerful forces inside us. And when these are integrated, our vrittis have shifted from uncontrolled to a controlled one, to unknown one to a known one. I told you we have the ability in us. What is happening over here? Our ability is showing forth. Yes, it is coming up. We are becoming more capable. So this is our journey from unknown, unconscious of our potential to becoming conscious of our potential, not only becoming conscious of our potential, but also making use of our potential positively. So increased consciousness. As your consciousness increases, you get to realize that you have the capabilities that you were unaware of. This is called self-actualization by Maslow. Maslow, the great psychologist, philosopher, he has come up with the theory of self-actualization. Yes, his 6 human needs are very, very popular. And he says that when these 6 needs are fulfilled, you actualize yourself. He was actually talking our lower stages of yoga, if you go to see. When I studied that in detail, in fact, a needs test is available on the internet for free. Anybody can carry out that needs test and you get certain report, which is also pretty elaborate, and you get to understand your needs. And you will see that all of these are emotional and physical needs, which when fulfilled, and how to fulfill them? By having regulation, becoming conscious of it yourself. So when this happens, then your knowledge about yourself enables you to act accordingly. Accordingly means with higher consciousness. ज्यादा जानकारी होगी तो ज्यादा अच्छे से काम करेंगे, कम जानकारी होगी तो डाउट से काम करेंगे और काम की क्वालिटी भी वैसी खराब होगी. तो ये जो कर्म योग वाली जो बात है, एफिशिएंसी इन वर्क, It happens because we are efficient. The work is only our own reflection. So we become more conscious. So our work also becomes more effective. A manifestation of this hidden power is called Siddhi in Sanskrit. What Maslow calls as self-actualization is called Siddhi in Yoga Sutra also. So in Yoga Sutra, I just talked about emotional balance. Those of you who have studied Yoga Sutra, you will know that there is a Siddhi mentioned for each of the Yama and Niyama. There's an entire sutra given to say what will happen when you have fully practiced Ahimsa, Satya, Steya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, and also Saucha, Santosha, Tapaswadhyaya, and Ishwar Pranidhan. It's not just clustered together and said. For each one, when you are able to practice them to their highest, which I have found is possible. Not only that, with the use of this technique, Vritti changing technique, it is possible to see yourself gradually moving towards it. So it does not have to be mystical for you. It doesn't have, you don't have to wait, ki khul ja, sim kind of abracadabra, something will happen and suddenly you will be a transformed from a Hinsa person to an Ahimsa person. No, you can actually do it yourself. You can keep working with the vrittis and keep shifting your consciousness to a higher level and to more higher level. And as much as you will shift it, what you just now experienced from 6 to 8, but you will say, but it doesn't remain on 8 all the time. No, it doesn't remain on 9 all the time. But then how long does it take you to do it again? Once you have learned the technique, this thing to improve your breathing takes only 2 minutes. And if in 2 minutes, you can continue to remain at your best breath for next 1.5 hours, is it not worth an investment? Gradually, it won't be just half an hour or 1.5 hours. It will become longer and longer. You do it for 2 minutes and maybe for half a day, you remain in a positive state. You do it for 2 minutes, for the next 4 hours, you remain in that good positive emotional state. Isn't that giving you power over your emotions, getting them into your control, and therefore actualizing your potential? You will find yourself being more effective and doing the work well without getting tired, without having to get stressed. And very obviously, when that happens, the quality of work will be good and your personal growth will happen hand in hand. It doesn't have to be separated. What say? So you can see the journey from Vritti to Siddhi. So let's get back to our main slideshow. So I don't need to show this. I've already talked about it. Then we go on to how was this Vritti changing technique found? I used to be an extremely emotional person, and when Dr. Jaydev pointed that out to me, I was not willing to agree till I actually started observing my yes, all these funny things are happening to me because I'm a highly emotional person. So how to change it? By and by, doctor mentioned that any technique that helps you to be in a balanced state is a yoga technique. And he also prompted me to find out what is happening in today's world, in modern times, for emotional balance. And I discovered this technique called EFT in 2008. And I learned this technique. When I learned this technique, I saw the very process of this technique, as you have seen just now, that there are 2 cycles of tapping in it. In the first cycle, we accept what is not okay and we want to change. And in the second cycle, we say what we want to change it to. We choosing. So isn't that giving you the power over yourself itself? Just look at that. And when I saw that, I knew it that this is the thing to be used for practice of Pratipaksha Bhavna, means practice of Yama Niyama in yoga. Because Pratipaksha Bhavna is suggested by Maharishi Patanjali for Yama Niyama, saying what? That whenever you are faced with the opposite of Yama Niyama, think of the opposite, means come back to the Yama Niyama. So whenever I find myself in untruth or hinsa, or feeling lazy, not facing challenges, I do this VCT. I acknowledge that yes, this is what I am feeling, and then I choose to shift to feel the positive. That yes, I choose to be thinking and feeling in non-injury, being truthful, or facing the challenges and doing my best. So like this, VCT was born. I call it VCT because emotional freedom technique doesn't make much sense to the yoga people. Also, I made small changes, and I don't use it only for the emotional part, as you will see, because there is a lot of behavior that needs to be regulated. Like the first sample that we did also is on breathing. Now, breathing is a physical activity of your body. So we actually shifted a physical activity. So it is not just about the emotion, it is also getting translated into action. And when you are emotionally calm and you can do positive action, your thinking also is more sattvic. And then all these three together make up Vritti. So therefore, instead of calling it emotional freedom technique, and with whatever some finer changes I have made to this technique, like adding of the closer point, and there are one or two other steps that I have, points, Marmasthana, I have changed according to yoga, become different from the original EFT, and I called it Vritti changing technique. Also, yoga people vibe better with that. So this Vritti changing technique can be utilized. Now, you may not necessarily spend time separately learning this technique. I have now designed a small program of 3 months, 10 sessions, and maybe plus 2 sessions for maybe introduction and for conclusion. So then it becomes 3 months fully, where we meet once a week on Zoom call. And the time that I have thought of is Monday, 7:30. And it depends upon the number of participants. We may take an hour to 1.5 hours. The first session is therefore beginning in September. So September, October, and November. In 3 months, and call it Vritti for Siddhi, just as is shown in our blueprint that I'm going to share with you and after the webinar. And if you can download it from the chat itself, I'll share it right there. So other benefits of this is that you get membership to my VIP day-to-day life. You will have improved sensitivity to body and mind, and you will be the pioneer for using a tool for Yama, Niyama, and Pratipaksha Bhavana, which nowhere in the world till today anyone is using. So you will be among the first generation to do that, to use that. And for that purpose, the energy exchange is 4,999. So I can share the link in the chat for those of you who wish to join right away. And it will lead you when you click on the link and complete the process of see a pop-up with a Telegram group link. So, and when you click on that link, it will take you to the Telegram group, which we will be using for the course of the 3 months. Okay, your Zoom link and other questions and some preparatory study materials, some posts that will be required every week will be sent over there. So welcome, take action and be a part of my mission. Be on this journey of having a more balanced, more emotionally balanced and better yogic value people in the world, because we are the ones who create our world by creating that kind of people around us. So I'm so happy you could attend and see through this whole thing. Hopefully, we will meet in the group and start the class on 5th of September. Okay, I'll share the, what is this? The blueprint in the chat. It's downloading in the chat. Successful. Wow. So you can get the PDF over there. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.